Welcome to Newtropic Zoo, a modern tropical zoo based in the grasslands of Africa. And in this video, we're going to be doing the full grand tour. Right, we're obviously going to start at the zoo entrance, and what a zoo entrance it is. You will see everything that you would expect to see from a real life zoo entrance, and that kind of carries on for the theme for the whole of the zoo. I tried to keep it as realistic as possible and make sure definitely don't scrimp on any of the little details. What I'm trying to say is there are lots of pieces in this zoo. It is very high detailed. We've got stuff like zebra crosses and bus stops, and on the left hand side here you will see where our guest spawn points are. They're located in these shuttle buses, these coaches, these transport coaches, whatever you want to call them. I think these are actually in the Europe pack, forgive me if I'm wrong, but they spawn there, they transfer and traverse over to the right hand side where our gates are, where you will find some custom made emergency exits and entrances, as well as some turnstiles. And next to the entrance is obviously the exit, and this is where our guests will exit. Again you will see turnstiles, and they will exit through the shop, because that's what you get, don't you? When you go to a zoo or any theme park or anything like that, you always exit through the shop to encourage guests to buy stuff. I've already mentioned that this zoo is very modern. Now you will see a recurring theme throughout the zoo with the colour schemes and the modern architecture. So if you're into modern architecture, then you're probably really going to like this zoo. Speaking of which, our first modern architecture zoo is this information point. Now, it's okay to just put facilities down, but I like to make a point of them and make them stand out. And that, again, once again, you will get in a normal zoo. This is the information centre. This is where the guests are first going to go to get all the information they need, the maps, sign in, and get all the brochures and where the animals are. Just to the right of the information centre is our first habitat, what you come across, and it's for the red fox. Quite a small habitat, and again you will notice that throughout the zoo that some of the habitats are actually quite small, but very high detailed. And what a viewing area for guests that is. And there's one of them just inside as well. What are you doing inside, buddy? Come outside and give our guest a lovely view with you. Now, I don't want to spoil how the whole zoo looks, but I'm just going to zoom out a little bit because I want to show you something here. You will see that this zoo is totally built on the same grid. Now, it might not look like it is, and because there's loads of different shapes, but it really is. Everything, all the walls, the paths are all built on the same grid system. Now we've got two choices off from the first habitat. We can go straight ahead into the restaurants, or we can turn left into an exhibit and a habitat. We're going to go left first and then we'll go right. On the left I built this lovely little fountain, and you can see our guest just stood up from it, because that's right, they can actually sit on it. You can cover anything, including paths, walls, anything in Planet Zoo, and your guests will still use them. I've basically just put the guest benches underneath this and built over it to create my custom bench. And the custom fountain and the custom benching leaves off to our second habitat for our aardvarks. Now this is actually the first habitat I built, so I just built off to the right hand side a bit later on in the series, but this was the first habitat I built, and I was so happy with it, from the custom fences to the planters to the way this habitat looks as a whole. Honestly, I'm happy with all the habitats, but this habitat, because it was first habitat built, has got a little special place in my heart. The guests seem to really like it as well, getting an amazing view there, and you will see the education boards and speakers are not left out also, even though it is a sandbox zoo. They're funny looking little creatures, but they are quite adorable, aren't they, the aardvark? You will also see that every habitat within this zoo has all got a backstage area, again adding to the more realism aspect of creating stuff in Planet Zoo. Now over to the left, something what caused a lot of controversy when I uploaded pictures of it is my bat house. Now bats are nocturnal, so why would they have a massive outdoor area like this? I know. I don't know what I was thinking when I created it, but I just knew that the design was there. Now you can use this same design for any enclosure, can't you? But I just wanted some bats in my zoo. Forgive me. It's kind of like an Avery style build, isn't it? Again, all custom made walls, paths, everything like that. We've got some lovely seating as well for guests to overlook this exhibit. If we would have turned right, we would have come over to this area. Now, this is the main restaurant of the zoo. And I don't know about you, but I would love to grab a bite to eat here. That's right, the guests are actually eating above a body of water. Now, this can be done only with restaurants, because normally you would have to have paths down to put chairs and tables. But if you're building a restaurant, for some reason you don't. So you can have them hovering above water on some glass. The entranceway is just built perfectly, and you'll see these custom-made lanterns on the outside as well, just adding to more of an atmosphere. Looks like these are enjoying a nice family meal. And just a bit further on for the restaurant, you kind of get to the centre of the zoo. And for the centre of the zoo, I wanted something special. Again, this is not functional. I really wish it was functional, but it's not. We have got a splash pad area and a set of swings for our little kiddies who attend the zoo, and even a sand pit for them as well. Again, I wish the kids could come and use the sand pit and use the splash pad, but they can't. Maybe Planet Zoo 2, when that comes out, hopefully they have the functionality to be able to do that. I don't know. Just left of the centre of the zoo, left of the splash pad, you will see our staff building, all enclosed, and once again a very modern, abstract and unique design, isn't it? Again, I really didn't want to hide away the staff facilities in this zoo. I wanted to make a point of them, and I think creating something like this does the job. We've got a food court for people who don't want to sit down and use the restaurants and have a sit down meal. They can just grab and go with this food court area. And just beyond the splash pad and the food court area, you will see our Nocturnal House. I've used a lot of custom fonts in this. I've not created the fonts you will see around the zoo. They're either the in-game fonts or they are fonts off the Steam Workshop by someone called Reese's. Now, Reese's fonts are amazing. If you want any fonts for your zoos, I really do recommend Reese's fonts. This is our Nocturnal House. Now, we've got an outside bit, but obviously it's a Nocturnal House. So I'll take you in and you can have a look at the inside bit. And this is for the porcupine. Again, nothing has been left to not be decorated. You will see custom fountains and lights like this everywhere. We obviously had to include some more internal nocturnal exhibits, so that's what I did on the left hand side of the Nocturnal House. Building this was very tricky. You'll see lots of little different angles and lots of little different details and stuff like that, but once it was done, it was done. It did take me a long time to create this Nocturnal House actually. Just a little side note here, around all of the outskirts of the zoo, it is all enclosed with either fences or rockwork and foliage. And I did spend a lot of time on the rockwork and foliage as well. And you can see the amount of detail. That leads up to our second biggest habitat in this zoo, and it's for the striped hyena. I think for me, the angles and the hills and the rockwork and the foliage really do stand out in this habitat. Quite a large viewing area as well. It is quite a large habitat actually. Got a lovely little hard shelter for these animals with some solar panels on the roof and some fallen leaves and stuff like that. And there's two of them right now stirring each other out. Once again, you can see we've got an internal area in here as well, a backstage area. Our guests can actually get back here. I might have to change that. Doesn't look right, guests being back here, doesn't it? But you see like feeding stations and stuff like that. Once again, no detail left undone. Looks like it's actually feeding time for our striped hyenas. Dig down into the ground and create this habitat. You just see our zookeeper just replenishing some of the food enrichment items here. Looks like one of our hyenas is going to go for it straight away. Didn't like the food inside, wants to come outside and bother with the enrichment items. I don't blame you, buddy. Now I'm going to go around the outskirts now of the zoo. Don't worry, at the end I'll zoom out and you can see the zoo as a whole. But around the outside you will come across this massive waterfall. Yeah, that's a lot of rock work, isn't it? But I actually enjoy doing rock work in Planet Zoo. Don't know what it is, it just feels a bit therapeutic to me. But yeah, very tropical, exotic, beautiful waterfall here, which offers amazing views if you get bored of the cheetahs. But why would you? Why would you get bored of these lovely animals? And the aesthetics of the habitat itself is quite appealing, isn't it? one of the more smaller habitats here for the meerkat. Now, I love the meerkats, I really do. I think they're adorable. They are tiny though. Oh, there's one, let's have a look. Look how it's just sat. Either standing or sitting. They're still very cute. Oh, and there's a little baby meerkat, look at that. Absolutely adorable. I love how they just burrow as well and go underground. And what an amazing view that our guests can have of these adorable animals. You will see a lot of foliage and plant work and rock work around the zoo, and I always say it in every video I do, foliage is king. If you got any gaps or anything like that in your zoos, just put a planter in there. This was a gap, it was just a long gap in the pathing system. I just put a planter in there and it just looked a hell of a lot better. I try to normally provide 2 different viewing areas, so like the main viewing area and then a sleeping viewing area, so our guests can view the animals while they're asleep. And I do use one-way glass as well, so our animals still get the privacy elements of a habitat. Now, this is one of the habitats what probably got the most upvotes on Reddit, and people seem to really like this habitat. Now, this habitat didn't actually take me long to build. Like, once I created my custom walls and I could just copy them over. I've got a tutorial on that, by the way, just a shameless plug there. Go and have a look at my tutorials for Planet Zoo. But yeah, a lot of people seem to like this habitat, and to be honest with you, once I finished with it, I didn't really know if I liked it, so it was quite interesting that loads of people did like it. But looking back at it now, it is pretty good looking, isn't it? I don't know what animal we've got in here. 1 minute, let me have some kind of reptile. Oh, that's right, it's the Nile monitor. They've got a lovely little pool here as well. Oh, one's actually in the pool there, again with another little internal waterfall. And obviously our guests once again can view that. Crowding over my barrier though, excuse me, I've got a barrier there. Now these are the next 4 habitats. We've got a unique designed habitat with underground bubble viewing, a really small habitat, a habitat with a very unique overpass, that's right, so that animals can go over the heads of guests and they can look up to them. And we've got the largest habitat in the zoo. First of all, let's look at the one with the underground viewing, which is the habitat for the great flamingo. Now, I love this habitat, especially love how clean it all looks and the angles of everything. Again, custom fences, custom floors, custom walls, all that good stuff as well. Very unique designed little enclosure here as well as hard shelter. And we've got those bubbles, that's right, guests can go in here. They actually go in this door to the right here. They go in and they pop up in here to get a better view of the greater flamingo. Now, this has got to be one of my favourite habitats in the whole zoo, I must say, and it's because of the overpass and just the design as a whole. It's like an Avery style building, isn't it? So we've got a large enclosure to the left here, and we've got a traversable, that's right, the animals can traverse through this overpass. Our guests can walk under it and they can get to the right hand side of the habitat. It's kind of like 2 habitats in one, and I really like the backdrops of the walls here with the rock work and the foliage. Everything just fits in really nicely, and I like and I enjoy building Avery style builds like this, especially circular builds like this left hand side Avery here. And in this habitat we have got 2 beautiful African leopards here. Over to the left is a rather small habitat. It's actually bigger than it looks though. I mean, the outside area is only small, so we had to put a small animal in there, and we went with the warthogs. Again, detailing with the foliage is still on point there. They've got a lovely mud bath, and what a viewing area for guests. The circular structure coming in once again, keeping with the same theme, and I'm really happy with how it all looks. With this like conservation wood pieces here, the stained wood and the plaster pieces with the 2 different colour plaster pieces and the black metal pieces, it just all seems to come together and works really good as a colour scheme. Obviously they've got a lovely internal hard shelter area as well. Right, moving on to probably the most beautiful and definitely the biggest habitat. This is a mixed habitat for 2 different animals. We have got the giraffes and we have got the zebras. I just really look how the water looks in this and the different viewing areas and the buildings. I just love this habitat. Right, let me show you the different viewing areas. Here we've got a viewing area here, but mainly for the giraffes because of the height of the actual viewing area. So when the giraffes go into this body of water, you'll be able to see them still using this viewing area for our guests. Now over on the right hand side, we've got a lower down viewing area for the zebras here, with like a moat separating the animals for the guest for safety, and then we've got an escalated kind of like heightened viewing area here, with our guests can actually have access to this, and it gives the impression that our guests can feed our giraffes. Again, not functional, but how amazing would that be to get hands on and feed giraffes? On the left hand side is a building what looks kind of like an avocado, doesn't it? Again, we're going with the moat here as well. And then entrance inside is a sheltered viewing area for our guests with a one-way glass, once again, for a bit of privacy for our animals. On the right-hand side, I've kind of created like a little tunnel system, kind of like a little moat tunnel system. Try to just like square it off here and border it off, but make it look like it would be functional as well. And the water goes into a little cave there as well, which I really like. If I zoom out like this, you really get a grasp of the actual size of this habitat. And last but not least, we've got a large underwater viewing area in this last habitat. Included in this underwater viewing area is an animal talk for our guest. This habitat is for the adorable pygmy hippos, who tend to walk on the bottom of the water on the floor rather than swim. They're not the best swimmers. But honestly, the viewing area and the viewing potential for these animals in this habitat is amazing. I love creating underwater viewing areas in Planet Zoo, I really do. And if I zoom out, you'll see they actually have got quite a large area to swim in as well as down here, and then it leads down there into a backstage area for the pygmy hippos as well. Now, as a whole, you can definitely see when you zoom out how I have built this on the grid. You will see everything is pretty much aligned. It's only the pathing what makes it look like it's not on the grid, the custom paths, but the actual in-game paths, every path is on the grid system. And that is it. That is the grand tour of Newtropic Zoo. Not the largest of zoos, but definitely quite a high detailed zoo and quite a unique looking zoo as well. I really, and I mean this, I really enjoyed making this zoo. I think there's like 16, 17, 18 episodes in the playlist, so if you're not already seen them, go back and watch them. But yeah, I made it. I finally did it. I finally completed this zoo. At some points I thought I would never have completed this zoo. There's some points I wanted to give in, but I didn't. I had a lot of patience and I persevered, and here we are. Here we are at the grand tour complete. If you want to download this zoo, if you want to have a look around yourself, it will be on the Steam Workshop page, along with all the other stuff I've actually put in this zoo, all the habitats and stuff like that. So yeah, go and have a look. It's nice to actually see a project all come together at the end and to be finished. This is my first ever zoo from scratch to finished that I have ever made on Planet Zoo. Normally I just make habitats or tutorials and put videos on my channel for that, but this is the very first project I have finished from start to finish. So yeah, that is Newtropic Zoo, complete, finished, done, and a massive goodbye from me and Newtropic Zoo if you've been a watcher of this series. If you had enjoyed this video, or if you enjoyed watching the series and watching the progress on Newtropic Zoo, then hit that like button. If you are new around here, then hit that subscribe button if you're into Planet Zoo content. My name's Adam. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will catch you in the next Planet Zoo video.